in the frozen wilds beyond the veil of memory, where honor is carved in frost and blood, their story unfolds. This is the Frostbone Legacy. If you're drawn to tales of grit, grief, and glory, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to never miss an echo from the past. Want to support the legacy and unlock exclusive perks? Join as a channel member today. Chapter 1, The Forgotten Blood, Part 1, The Blade and the Whisper. Snow hissed against the stretched hide roof of the war tent, soft but endless, like the breath of something old and patient. Inside, the fire pit burned low, more ember than flame, and shadows slithered across furs and sharpened bones mounted on the central post. The air smelled of iron, smoke, and old blood. Chief Varkan of the Frostbone clan sat cross-legged by the fire, bare arms folded across his knees. His tusks were chipped, his hair bound in iron rings, his face carved by the passage of time. He wore no armor. He didn't need it. Across from him stood Torgen, once a whisper walker in the frost hunts, now a limping courier whose left eye never quite tracked with the right. His hood hung back, snow melting in his beard, steam curling from his shoulders. He waited. Neither man spoke. Varkan's hand moved slowly, drawing a whetstone down the edge of a short, heavy dagger. Not ceremonial, this one had been used. The edge hissed under the stone, steel singing softly in the firelit quiet. "She lives," Torgen rasped. "South. In the stone city, Varinthal." The whetstone paused. Varkan didn't look up. "The girl?" Torgen nodded. "The one from the seamstress. The woman you left there 24 winters ago." Varkan resumed sharpening. "She's grown, patches wounds in the back alleys, keeps her head down, half human, but the other half, it's yours. I saw it. And the mother? Still breathing last I passed through." The dagger caught a flicker of light. Varkan set the whetstone aside and looked up, his eyes pale grey, nearly colourless, fixed on the courier. "She's never been claimed," he said. "No," Torgan replied. "No name, no clan, but people talk, words getting out. Some of the younger blades say you've got no heir." Varkan stood. His knees cracked softly. He stepped to the rear of the tent, where a low boulder sat half buried in the packed dirt. From behind it, he drew a long, cloth-wrapped bundle and knelt beside it. He unwrapped the blade. The hilt was carved from polished mammoth horn, bone-white and worn. The blade itself was dark steel, wide at the base, honed for breaking more than cutting. Just above the grip, a broken X, the Frostbone rune, split strength. Varkan stared at it for a long moment. "She doesn't know what she is." Torgen said. "She will," Varkan murmured. "She's not ready." "No one is." He wrapped the blade again, tighter this time. Torgen hesitated. "You'll bring her back?" "I won't." Torgen raised a brow. "Then who?" Varkan's voice was quiet, deliberate. "Send Dax." The pause that followed was longer than the rest. Torgen stepped forward. His voice dropped. "You trust him with this?" "He is exact. He's merciless." "Good." Torgen frowned. "He's not going to like it." "He doesn't need to like it. He needs to do it." Varkan met his gaze. "Dax won't lie to her. He won't coddle her. He'll show her what the world is. And if she breaks..." Varkan stood and bound the blade once more. "Then she breaks." He returned to the fire, crouched beside it, and held the wrapped blade over the coals. Not offering it, just feeling the heat. Torgen shifted. "Why now?" Varkan didn't look at him. "The frost is thinning," he said, "and so is the blood. We don't need another warlord." "Then what do we need?" His voice dropped to a low hum. "Something that survives." A gust of wind screamed against the tent, snapping the seams, making the fire jump. Varkan rose again. "Bring Dax." Torgen hesitated at the flap. "She'll be like nothing he's ever seen," he warned. "A city-grown woman, soft hands, speaks in coin, no scars, wears linen." Varkan looked down at the bundle in his hands. "She's of my blood," he said. "Blood calls. She'll lead." Torgen nodded once, then pulled open the flap and vanished into the storm. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, Varkan stood alone, firelight flickering over his skin, the blade gripped like memory in both hands. Part 2, Orders by Firelight. The tent flap opened with a hiss of wind and snow. Dax entered without asking. He didn't bow. He never had. The fire in the brazier had dropped to glowing coals, casting long, flickering shadows over the thick hides pinned along the walls. Dax brushed the frost from his cloak as he stepped inside. His boots left wet marks in the earth. The long axe on his back shifted slightly with his stride. Varkan didn't speak. He stood near the fire with the cloth-wrapped blade in his hand. Dax stopped a few steps in, eyes narrowing as they landed on the bundle. You summoned. I did. You've got the look of someone about to ask the wrong favor. Varkun stepped into the deeper glow. His bare arms were folded, muscles veined and scarred, shadows thick beneath his brow. I have work for you. South? Varkun nodded. Raid? No. Dax frowned. Then what? There's a girl in Varenthal. Dax went still. Then, slower, the one from the whispers. She's mine. Dax tilted his head. She's 24 now, isn't she? She is, and you've done nothing for 24 winters. I do something now. You sure it's yours? I'm sure enough. Dax began to pace. So now we call half-bloods from the gutters and hand them the old fire? She's of my line, Varkun said. Blood calls. She'll lead. She's never seen frost that bites, never heard a war drum. She'll crack in her first hour out there. She's lived without us and survived. That means something. It means nothing. It means luck, and luck breaks. Varkun didn't reply. Dax stopped pacing. You want me to bring her? Varkun stepped closer and held out the blade, still wrapped. Dax stared at it but didn't take it. You trust me with this? I trust you to show her the truth. If she's weak, you show her how to be stronger. If she stays weak, you end it. Dax's jaw clenched. He looked at the blade, then at his old war chief. I've followed every call, and I've never asked more than now. Dax said nothing. Varkun's voice dropped lower. I'm not sending you to save her. I'm sending you to see what she's made of. And if she's nothing, then she dies as nothing, but not here. Dax finally took the blade, testing its weight through the cloth. You always said leadership was taken. It still is. You want her to take it? I want her to earn it, if she can. Dax turned for the flap. Varkun added one last thing. Give her the blade only if she earns it. Wind rattled the hide. Dax stepped into the storm. Part 3, the long ice. The wind on the tundra didn't whistle. It howled. It screamed through the valleys and snapped between stone ridges, dragging razored snow across the ice plains like claws over glass. It tore at cloaks and cut through leather, howled down old burial shafts and roared against the broken mammoth skulls that marked the forgotten dead. Dax walked into it without slowing. He was alone. No sled, no fire dogs, no escort. Just him. The wrapped blade strapped to his pack, the axe across his back, and a bone flask of fermented bark to keep the chill from climbing into his chest. He moved with the patient rhythm of a glacier. Head down. Steps deliberate, cloak trailing like a shadow with weight. The frost gathered on his beard, the tips of his tusks. He didn't notice. By the second night, he crossed the Ghost Pass. 3 ridgelines of fractured shale, 1 broken bridge, and a storm he didn't outpace so much as outweight. He camped beneath a hollowed pine, crouched against the roots, cloak wrapped tight, staring into darkness. He didn't build a fire. Fire gave away position. Fire made you soft. Dax didn't need light to think. He thought about the girl, Mia. Half-orc, southern-born, alley-taught, raised by a seamstress, probably used a knife like a tool, not a weapon, probably smelled like boiled water and starch. And yet Varkun had called her, chosen her. Dax had no children, never had, no time, no softness. He taught blades, trained war-bound initiates, broken young warriors who mistook ferocity for strength. But this was different. This was legacy. This was the future, and it was born in the mud. He scowled and took a pull from the flask. The burn chased the thoughts back where they came from. By dawn, the storm thinned to fog and he moved again. He crossed frozen rivers, climbed outcroppings, skirted fireless way stations carved from old bones. The frostlands were quiet, too quiet. Fewer beasts, fewer tracks. The frost was changing. Varkun had spoken true. The cold was thinning, the bloodlines with it. On the 4th day, Dax reached the old road, half stone, half slush, a relic from the days when trade ran between frost and sun. He followed it down the rise, where the tundra fell away and the world softened. Ahead, in the crook of 2 rivers, Varenthal sprawled like rot across stone. He crouched beneath a bent pine, hood low, watching the city. Smoke, lights, sounds of song and barter, clatter and stink. He could smell boiled fat from here, piss in alley drains, wet hay and forge soot. He hated it already. Cities were nests for weak men with loud mouths. But she was in there. He pressed a gloved hand to the bundled blade at his side, then buried it deeper beneath the cloak. He didn't pray, didn't promise. He just stood, pulled the axe tighter across his back, and started down the hill. Part 4, City of Smoke. The gates of Varinthal were tall but tired, stone arches blackened by coal soot, iron bars pitted with rust. Two guards watched from a distance, too bored or too cold to care. One spat into the mud. No one stopped Dax as he passed beneath. The city swallowed him. The sounds were wrong. Instead of wind, there was shouting, clatter of hooves, barking dogs, wheels grinding over stone. The stink of piss and grease and old meat clung low to the ground. Chimneys belched black smoke into air already thick with fog. Dax moved through it like a blade through fat. Silent, sure, out of place. The cloak helped, so did the size. People parted around him, eyes skimming his tusks, then looking away fast. He didn't speak, didn't slow. He hated the city already. Every step felt like walking through a place built by people who had forgotten how to feel cold. Their walls were thin, their fires too small, their words shallow. He passed through merchant lanes, past butcher stalls and boil vendors, a boy yelling about turnips from a cart that held none. Everything was loud and painted, lies in colour. Further in, the buildings leaned. The stones grew crooked. The streets narrowed until even Dax had to turn his shoulders. Rainwater pooled at his feet, and the gutters were clogged with trash and dead leaves. It smelled like rot and dye and blood, fresh and old, side by side. He kept walking. Took him under an hour to find someone who knew the name. The man was hunched outside an apothecary, his hand wrapped in bloodied cloth. A fighter, judging by the knuckles. His eyes slid up as Dax approached. "You looking to lose a fight or start one?" "I need a name," the man snorted. "That costs." Dax flipped a coin. Not copper, not even silver. A frostbone cut ring, carved with the broken X. The man caught it, looked once, nodded slowly. "Mia Halden," he said. "Back quarter, fourth door on Knife Alley. Red cloth in the window." Dax turned without thanking him. The alleys grew worse, tighter, quieter. Only the rats moved with confidence. He passed a girl counting coins by candlelight, two men fighting over a coat, a drunk sleeping on the roof of a broken cart. No one noticed him, or they did and pretended not to. Then he saw the red cloth. Fourth door. The place leaned left. The paint peeled in strips. A candle burned inside, just enough light to see a shape move past the curtain. He knocked. A pause. Then the door creaked open. A woman stood in the narrow frame, shoulders squared, chin up. Brown hair tied back, sleeves rolled, eyes sharp. There was a scar at her collarbone and her hands were stained with something dark, ink or dried blood. "Elira Halden?" Dax asked. Her hand moved towards something out of view. "I'm not here to harm you," he said. "Wrong city for trust." "I'm not here for you. I'm here for your daughter." Her fingers dropped. "She's not home. She will be." Elira studied him again, his height, his eyes, the scars. She saw something she remembered but didn't want to. "You look like him," she said. "I was raised by him." She stepped aside. The inside smelled of smoke and herbs and steel. A small fire flickered in a metal bowl. Shelves were packed with jars, roots, powders, oils, bones, a cot, a curtain. No comfort. "I knew this day would come," she said, sitting and pulling a blade to slice bark. "She doesn't know." "No, she should." Elira's jaw set. "She's kind. She heals. She saves people. She'll need more than that." "She's not going with you." "She is," Dax said, "just doesn't know it yet." Footsteps outside, the door opened. "Ma?" The girl had a satchel over one shoulder, fingers stained, sleeves rolled to the elbow. Her face was lean, freckled, her eyes were the same pale grey. Dax turned to face her. She stopped cold, looked at him, then her mother. "Elira," she said slowly, "who the hell is this?" Part 5, the broken name. Mia Holden didn't move from the doorway. Her fingers tightened on the strap of her satchel. Her eyes bounced between her mother and the stranger. He hadn't blinked, barely breathed. "Ma," she said, slower this time. "Who is he?" Elira rose from her stool and set the knife down, gently, like the table might explode if she wasn't careful. Her tone stayed even. "Put your satchel down. Wash your hands. We need to talk." Mia took half a step back. "I think I'm good right here." Dax didn't take his eyes off her. "You're taller than I expected." "What? Your eyes?" he said. "Same as his." "Who?" "Your father." Elira winced. Mia's mouth opened, closed. Her jaw worked as if trying to chew through something bitter. "My father's gone," she said. "Left when I was still coughing up milk." "He's alive," Dax replied. "He sent me." Mia looked at her mother. "That true?" Elira didn't answer. "You said he was nothing, said he never mattered." "I said what I had to." "Yeah," Mia said. "You did." She set the satchel down. Slowly. Her hands shook just enough for Dax to notice. "Why now?" she asked. "After 24 years? Why send some knife-eyed killer into my house?" "Because the clan needs something," Elira answered quietly. "Something your father can't give them anymore." Mia turned on her. "And you just kept that quiet? Let me grow up patching drunks and dodging debt men while I had that hanging over me. I tried to give you a life with choices. Then why does this feel like a fucking trap?" Dax stepped forward, not fast, not threatening, just deliberate. He unhooked a bundle from his belt and held it in both hands, cloth-wrapped, worn smooth at the edges. "He said to give you this," Dax said, "but only when you've earned it." She didn't take it. "I don't want your blade." "It's not a blade," he replied. "It's your name." Mia's laugh was sharp and thin. "You people keep saying that like it means something. It does. To us. Well, it doesn't to me." Before he could answer, a hiss crept in under the door. Sharp. Chemical. Elira turned, sniffed the air. "Oil fire." Dax's voice dropped. "They're burning the back. You led someone here?" They followed. "To my house?" He didn't respond. The scent turned bitter. Smoke curled past the curtain at the back of the room. Mia looked at Elira. "We have to go." Elira grabbed a pouch from the shelf. "You go." "No, there's no time." Dax moved toward the window, checked the alley. "Too late. They're blocking the rear. Small crew, masks, paid hands." "Then we fight," Mia said. "You die." A loud crack above, the ceiling joist giving way. Sparks fluttered down the wall. "Mia," Elira said, gripping her daughter's wrist. "Listen, run, don't stop, follow him. I'm not leaving you. You already have." And she shoved her. Dax caught Mia by the arm, spun her toward the door. "No," Mia shouted, twisting free. But Elira had already turned back into the smoke, grabbing a hooked blade from beneath the apothecary table. Mia hesitated, just for a breath. Then the ceiling split with a roar and Dax dragged her through the doorway. The fire followed. Part 6, Ash and Edge. Smoke chased them into the alley. It poured from the apothecary windows in greasy black waves, carrying the sharp stench of burning herbs, old cloth and oil. The air behind them boiled with orange light. Mia coughed hard, stumbling once on the slick cobblestone. Dax didn't slow. He moved like he'd been born for this, twisting through the alley's bends, keeping low, eyes always scanning for shadow, torchlight, pursuit. Mia kept up. Barely. "What the hell is happening?" she shouted, breath ragged. "Too late for questions," he barked. "Run." They ducked beneath a leaning beam, splashed through a puddle choked with ash. Somewhere behind, a crash echoed, timber splitting, stone cracking. The apothecary was collapsing. Mia tried not to look back. They turned down a narrow pass between two crumbling tenements. A drunk screamed something unintelligible at them from a stairwell. Fire glow licked the rooftops now. People were yelling. Bells began to clang near the central square. "City guard?" Mia gasped. "Maybe, maybe not." "You said a small crew. I was wrong." They pushed out into the lower merchant ring, carts overturned, panicked bodies darting in all directions. Someone had spread the fire. It was leaping rooftops now, jumping stone to wood like it had hands. Mia turned in a full circle. "We're boxed in." Dax grabbed her arm. "North gate, this way." They veered down an open drainage channel, ducked beneath a sagging bridge. Rats skittered. A woman screamed above them. Flames chased shadows across the upper walls. Mia's lungs burned. She hadn't run like this since she was 13, dodging loan thieves after a bad tincture deal. Her legs felt like stone. Her chest cracked with each breath. But she didn't stop. They came up behind the north watchpost. Guards stood with pikes drawn, trying to keep the gate clear as dozens pressed against it, shouting, pleading, bribes and threats. The portcullis was half lowered. Too slow. Dax didn't hesitate. He shoved past a merchant and two farmers, grabbed the edge of the iron gate and slipped under before it dropped another inch. He turned, grabbed Mia by the waist and pulled her through just as it slammed behind them. They tumbled onto the frost-packed road outside the walls. The screams grew duller, the fire smaller. Mia rolled to her hands and knees, coughed hard and spat soot. Dax stood, scanned the tree line. His face was expressionless. Ready again. Mia staggered up beside him. She turned once toward the city. All she saw was fire. "She's gone," she said. "I know. You didn't try to save her. I tried to save you." She rounded on him. "You don't get to make that choice. I already did." She shoved him. Hard. He didn't move. "Damn you," she whispered. "Say it all you want. You're still alive." They stood in silence. The wind scraped across the dirt road, dragging ash with it. The trees ahead were dark silhouettes against a bruised sky. It was nearly dawn. Pale violet light bled at the edge of the world. Mia's chest heaved. Her hands trembled. "What now?" she asked. Dax reached to his belt, pulled the cloth bundle free, held it out. "This is yours." She stared at it. "I didn't earn it. Not yet. I don't want it. It wants you." She didn't reach for it. Instead, she looked toward the horizon, toward the snow line she could barely see in the fading dark, toward a place she'd never imagined mattered. "I don't even know where that road goes. You'll learn. And if I don't want to, then you'll die." Mia's eyes dropped to the bundle. The cloth was stained now. Ash had clung to the edges. She took it, unwrapped it slowly. The knife lay in her hands like something dug from an ancient grave. Heavy, cold, familiar. She touched the carved hilt, the broken X. "What's it called?" she asked. Dax looked north. "It's not called anything, not until you name it." She gripped the blade. "I'll walk," she said. "For now." He nodded. She turned toward the trees. Dax followed. Part 7. Sunrise and Cinders. They walked for hours beneath a bruised horizon, the embers of Varinthal's ruin flickering behind them like a warning written in flame. The trees thinned as they climbed, frost reclaiming the earth with every mile. Mia said nothing at first. The silence between her and Dax stretched long, broken only by the crunch of their boots and the distant caws of winter crows. The road north wasn't marked, not really. Just a line of ridges and half-frozen stream beds, and Dax's unerring instinct. He moved like he knew the bones of the land. Mia followed, her breath still raw from smoke, the wrapped blade tucked into the crook of her arm. She hadn't looked at it since the moment she took it. As the sky began to pale from black to ash-grey, she stumbled. Her knee struck a rock, and she caught herself with one hand in the frost-crusted soil. She hissed under her breath. Dax turned, watched her for a beat. Said nothing. "I'm fine," Mia muttered, pushing upright. Her palm was cut, blood welled and froze around the edge in a thin rim. She stared at it. The pain sharpened her focus, not just the throb, but the absurdity of it. Everything she knew was gone. Everything she didn't know was in front of her, and here she was, bloodied by a stone in the dirt. Something in her shifted. She reached into her satchel, pulled out a bundle of root cloth she'd stuffed there during the fire. With a practiced hand, she tore a strip and began to wrap her palm. It wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty, but it was tight, effective. Dax watched. "You've done that before." "I've done everything before," she said, "except this." He started walking again. She followed. They crested a low ridge, just as the first gold edge of the sun scraped over the mountains. It spilled across the north like a slow knife, painting the ice plains in blinding white. Frost glimmered on the rocks. A herd of horned deer scattered at their presence, their hooves striking sparks on stone. Mia stopped. She shielded her eyes, looking out over the endless tundra. It was vast, merciless, silent. But beneath the cold, something inside her stirred. Not awe. She didn't have the luxury of awe, but recognition. Like some buried part of her had opened its eyes for the first time and saw something it understood. She didn't smile, but she stood taller. "I don't know anything about this place," she said. "You will," Dax replied. "No, I mean..." She touched the wrapped blade at her side. "If I'm supposed to lead, if I'm supposed to survive this, I need to learn everything, and I will. But I'm not doing it your way. Not all the way." Dax gave her a sidelong look. "You think there's another way?" "I think there has to be." The sun climbed higher, setting fire to the frost. Dax didn't argue. He just turned back toward the north and walked. After a moment, Mia followed. They left no words behind, only footsteps in snow, and the faintest curl of steam where her blood had touched the frost and not frozen. The legacy lives on, carried into new worlds. Watch more to see how their story continues.